Hello, people. It's Rick the Kid with the Hot Bars here, and we are back with episode 2 of Yard Times. As always, I'm joined with my co-host.
The GBYWN World Champion, Rad Hazard. Also, I'm the Matt Pro Wrestling Grand Champion, Radley Belmont. Just beat Darius Carter, number 199 on the PWI 500. No big deal. But
It absolutely sounds like a big deal.
no, I'm just making it sound like a big deal. But it was a great start to a great summer, I'll put it that way.
And and I mean, if we're being honest, you've been the GBYWN champion for pretty much exactly a year now. We're a couple days past that, right? So that's got to put you somewhere in the record books. I mean, a year is a long time to hold the strap. That's like the Matt DeMorris, Robbie Roberts, Henry Rotten type. Murph? Did Murph hit a year?
I don't know if Murph. No, Murph made it a little over a year, I think. Yeah. DeMorris didn't make it a full year because he was a two-time champion. But I know. See, now you're putting me on the spot. So look at this. Robbie Roberts had the title for something like 16 months. Henry Rotten had the title for like 3 years, but I am 2 defenses in, which is 2 more than Henry Rotten. Well, actually, 1 more than Henry Rotten had. So we'll take it as it is.
And you winning that title happened at the show that we're here to talk about tonight. And it was a year ago. Over the last couple days would be the 1-year anniversary. And yesterday I posted the last of 3 music videos that commemorate the event. The first day had 2 parts. The second day I crammed into one little 5.5-minute video that I took my time on, and I made sure it came out the way that I wanted it to. Without going too much into detail about it, man, how'd you feel? Do you like it?
So I didn't want to give you any opinions on anything. I wanted to give it to you live, give it to you raw. I love how you, especially in your MVs. Sorry, I'm blowing smoke up your ass immediately.
I love it. All night, do it.
Of course. But
I quit smoking, so I need someone to do it for me.
Hey, I only smoke when I'm on fire. But listen, so I love that your MVs tell not just a story of what you're seeing in front of you, but kind of a story of the people in the match. And so I was honestly surprised that it starts with me in the Backyard Wrestling Weekly. So it must have been one of the first 2 episodes or something, because I didn't have that look for a long time. And for that to bookend with me and Matt and Nix hugging at the end of the show, holding literally the original GBYWN World Championship, and then the 2012 onward GBYWN World Championship, that it tells a story that if you know the story, it's really bookends a lot for me as a not just as a backyard wrestler, but as a person since 2009. Yeah. And I say that especially for day one, the same could be said for you. It was a real highlight of the beginning and the end for you. Not that it's over, but your last match and everything. And when I see that, like, I'm oohing and awing at the moves, of course. Like, to my opinion, I'm going to blow smoke up everybody's ass now, because I still think we're some of the most, if not the most creative wrestlers of our generation. And maybe any generation. I don't want to go ridiculous and say we're gods or anything, but I'm just saying, like, there's something different about when you put all those people together in a room. It's like taking the most creative comic book creators and making your own Justice League, like that kind of thing. It's the most creative people all in one room, a bunch of Willy Wonkas being thrown together, making this insane magic that doesn't quite make sense, but is awe-inspiring. And that's exactly what you guys brought to the table, and I think the music video really showcases that in a lot of ways. So, Rick, once again, you knocked it out of the park. It's a home run. It's a doubleheader. It's what I don't know baseball. It's a top fly into the end zone touchdown. It's fantastic. I really loved it, and I hope everyone else agrees. And if they don't agree, I don't know what's wrong with them. I don't know. Maybe they want more psychology or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. Telling the story is always very important for me. So, like, the way that I went about it was very obviously, like, these are our memories. This is how it used to be, and even some clips that are kind of like maybe hidden gem clips that people haven't seen too many times is kind of what I wanted to throw in there. I didn't want to throw the same old crap that we've been seeing in music videos for 10 years, but like I have such a vast collection of media that I could dig into a random WZW show and find Danny Devine taking a belly-to-belly suplex from the Rust back in 2008 or whatever, you know, and being able to use clips like that and show them as memories, and then closing the door on it with Johnny Cockstrong making an entrance back in 2005 or whatever, and then to go into the entrances we currently have, and then the surprise entrance from him. And something that I really enjoyed doing with the video was at the very end of it, whenever Cockstrong hits the go to cock, it fades into that same memory style scene that the video started with, because in my head, like, we were there to celebrate the memories, but we were also making new memories. So as much as like the beginning of the video is like, this is stuff that has happened, the end of the video is also, this is stuff that has happened. Like, we are, every time we get together, we're creating these memories over and over and over again. So as much as it feels like it might be in the distant past, it's still happening, and we proved it with It's Not Dead Yet, and we proved it again with BYG 8 this summer, and in the future whenever we do more of these, because they're springing up like spring flowers, bro. Like, they're everywhere. Everybody wants their chance to do another Yard Super Show, which is crazy. BYX again in Florida. Never know who's going to host the show next, and it's really cool that it all started because here in Pittsburgh, we proved that we are not dead yet, right?
Absolutely. You're right about that. We all came together to kind of relive the past, but in doing so, we just made another chapter. We made another chapter of a really awesome book, and we didn't even think about it. I'm sure a lot of people thought it was an ending, you know, even though it's not called It's Not Dead Yet. Let's be real. A lot of people thought it was their last hurrah, and I think, well, I know for guys like Kale, for instance, I'm sure he wouldn't care that I'm saying it. It was a new beginning. It was a new chapter. He was more excited than ever to do more, which is why BYG 8 happened, which is why I guarantee you there will be more reunion shows in the future. Maybe not even just reunion. They're just going to be more shows, because there's always more coming.
And honestly, BYG 8 was the second time that I inspired Kale, because Abyss happened whenever I asked him if I could use his show title. He came out for Abyss, and then he was like, I love that you guys are still doing this. I'm going to do BYG 6. So 2 BYGs inspired by Kale attending Pittsburgh shows is also pretty cool and cyclical, and just what the community is all about, right? Like, people getting together, getting excited to get together again, and it's fantastic. I love it.
It's infectious, man. When I get excited, you get excited. When you get excited, Kale gets excited. When Kale gets excited, someone else. Onward. It only takes one person to get excited. Right.
And to make this specific show happen, It's Not Dead Yet, it took way more than one person. I have had right-hand mans since the beginning of Golden Triangle Media's inception, but I mean, through the podcast side of it, it was Dominic. Whenever we started working on coming up with the ideas for It's Not Dead Yet, it was Josh Todd. More recently here, it's been you, but I always need people that are willing to ride with me to do what I'm doing over here. So I always appreciate the gumption, the go for it, the excitedness of doing backyard wrestling related media, which is it's not everybody's cup of tea, but we sure love the shit.
Absolutely.
And speaking of backyard wrestling related media, today I posted on Golden Triangle Media the main event of BXW Goodbye 2012.
Yes.
On that show, the main event just so happened to be your first opportunity at the GBYWN World title. Second.
So this is going to sound fake. The first time I wrestled for the GBYWN World title was against FX in Salt Lake City, Utah in late 2009.
Well, it ain't 2009 no more. So the main event of Goodbye 2012 was you versus Murph versus Matt DeMorris. And I'd like to invite anybody on here that hasn't seen that yet or been following along with Goodbye 2012 to jump in and watch at least the main event. Real quick, you want to give them 1 or 2 quick reasons why they should tune into that match?
Absolutely. How about 3-man F5? One man.
Technically 4-man, right?
Well, 3 men felt it. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I guess the other one felt it later, but when he was sore. But one man holding another man on top of him, another man on top of him, another man. Sounds like a cartoon situation. It really happened. He did, and you know the F5 where like the guy moves underneath and they go down. Nah, that's not how Matt DeMorris does things. No, he moved all 3 of us, and yes, I was on the bottom, so I know this. Moved all 3 of us, slammed us to the side, and I'll have you know, tune in real close. When I land directly on, actually it was this shoulder. I land directly on this shoulder. It popped my shoulder back into place. I had a shoulder issue before that. So when I landed, it popped it back into place. It's felt better ever since. I called him Dr. DeMorris. I said, thank you very much, buddy. He said, anytime you ever need another F5, let me know.
Man, that's fantastic. And he'll do it for you right now if he can get over to your house. So what we're here to talk about today is Backyard Wrestling. It's Not Dead Yet. And it was a show that happened September 28th and 29th, 2024 in New Kensington, Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh. Hosted technically by me and a few of the other SWC guys. Everybody around here played a hand in making sure that it happened. And not only the people around here played a hand, but so did every single person in attendance. So I'm going to start off by saying something that's very important to me is that I need to tell everybody that has told me that I made the show happen and that I brought the community back together. It's like, that is not a one person thing. That wasn't no matter how hard I wanted it, it was not something that I could do. It was something that we had to do together, and we all had to want to do it. We all had to want to get in our cars and drive to Pittsburgh or fly to Pittsburgh or whatever the situation may be. That was an everybody thing. I gave the venue and the fire under the ass, the ability to do it. But these reunion shows have been talked about for the 10 years previous, and everybody tried something. Everybody has talked about it or came up with an idea or invited people to come somewhere on a certain date, and it just never really seemed to pan out all the way. And I think one of the reasons why my show did it was because everybody was finally ready. And I just happened to be the right guy asking for the right people at the right time. I think that the group wanted it, and I was lucky enough to be afforded the opportunity to book it. So as much as I appreciate all of the appreciation that was heaped on me for the show, I truly believe that it was an everybody event. And included in everybody is you, because as far as the people that were most involved and most excited and most paramount to the stories that I was trying to tell at the show, it was me and it was you, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're absolutely right that everyone put effort in. I mean, a car only runs when every single part is working. And I think you put it really succinctly that it's about time and opportunity. That was really what it was all about. That being said, you were the voice of the voiceless in that way, where you were the only guy with a podcast out there that wasn't Devin Bliss. But, you were the guy putting out the I have a real life saying. I always say, what if? I say that constantly. What if? What if? What if? What if? Sometimes good what ifs, sometimes bad what ifs. You were the guy that launched the what if. Maybe it could have been someone at some other time, but you were the one that did it at the right time. And because of that, everyone followed your lead. So it wasn't you alone, but if it was your lead, it was the Golden Triangle Media lead. And I was very, very happy to be a part of that. I was excited to be part of that. I wouldn't have missed it for the world. As we'll get into at some point, I was in a lot of pain. It didn't matter. I was going to be there. And I'm still very thankful for that. And who knows where you and I specifically and many, many others would be without that show last year. We probably, I'd say probably, I don't know, what if, right? But we probably wouldn't be doing this. We definitely wouldn't be talking about this. I wouldn't have this belt right here. There's a lot of different what if scenarios that we don't have to worry about because we did. Mm-hmm. We kind of reached the best timeline with that scenario. I think this was a beautiful weekend. that really couldn't have gone better for most of the people there. I say most because there was a few injuries, but
Yeah.
even in that, we all got stories that we're going to remember for the rest of our lives, and that was the team effort. Couldn't have done without every single person there.
Every person, right? And if you want to figure out a little bit more about how the idea for the show came to be, I mean, if you've been following along from the beginning and watching the Backyardians podcast, which I believe you did, I think you were right there with us through most of the episodes. I'm sure you watched, but like Airborne Extreme and the Top Turda guys and quite a few people were following along and watching the podcast with us and messaging me and commenting and enjoying the content that we were putting out. But it was just talking about it and remembering how much fun all the things were and all the shows and all the stories. And it's just like, eventually after you talk about it for so long, you get the itch. And there was no reason why we couldn't do it again. And in fact, I mean, as an adult now, I had more expendable income than I ever did back when we were doing it previously. So it was a situation where like the opportunity presented itself pretty much out of nowhere, which was really fun for me and the people that were involved in the Backyardians podcast. So whenever the idea initially gets brought up, and you hear Pittsburgh wants to do a reunion show, do you remember what your first thoughts were? Like, is it going to happen, or just straight up excited, I know this is going to work, or what?
I mean, so I've been invited to a lot of different shows. I would say most of them do happen. OCWS had a reunion show in 2018. 2019, they did Ring of Mayhem. 2021, they did Ring of Mayhem. Did I think it was going to happen? Yeah. My first thought was, how big is this going to be? How many people are really going to show up for this? Because pretty much since, I don't know, 2021, 2022, maybe, people hadn't really gotten together. And there was that worry that I think many of us had, that when is it going to be too late to come back? How long will it take before, it's going to come? Like, if we waited another 5 years, would it have been awkward to see each other again? Would there have been too much time between meetings? And I don't know. This is my personal thing. How awkward would it be? Because especially with me, I played a character the whole time. I was a bad guy the whole time. I'm a completely different person. I have long hair. Totally different person, long hair. So for me to come in, it was kind of like, will people see me as the 2009 guy? Will they see me as a completely different person? Will they not want to know me? There was such a separation from that time. I didn't know what to expect. Now, there's also the fact that, like, I do a lot of independent wrestling. I don't see people for a couple years at a time, and then when you see them again, it's like no time had passed. So that kind of allowed me to think, well, at least when I go, some people there will at least be like, oh, look, it's Rad, cool, and so I was always ready, willing, and able to go. Even before I had a real plan of how to get there, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be there, of course. Even before we discussed it, I was like, I'll definitely make it somehow. But the main thing I was worried about, not worried, but just interested in finding out, is how many people would it be? Would it? I know there was a WCW show, not disparage anybody, but there's a WCW show a couple of years ago that they tried to do a reunion show, and 12 people showed up or something. I'm not saying that's screw them. They had a really good time, so it was great. But I was just wondering, how big is this going to be at the end of the day? Not that it really mattered, but that was my initial thought.
Yeah.
How big is this going to be? What's going to happen? Who's going to be there? What's going to separate this from everything else? And hopefully it isn't forgotten immediately after it happens from the people that were there at a good time, but no one else really cared, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing that I kind of considered that same thought process, right? And a lot of whenever it came to making this show and trying to make it kind of measure up to the stuff that we have done in the past, at least in terms of the hangouts, it was important for me to get as many people as I could possibly get just to show up. Like, at the end of the day, I really didn't care who wrestled, because I wanted the wrestling part to matter, but it was more important to me that everybody came up and made it into a reunion more so than a reunion show.
Mhm.
So I reached out to everybody that I could. And not only did I reach out, I stayed on people. And you know how often you and I talked leading up
Yeah.
to the show. I was like that with a lot of people. And I posted the it's not dead yet flyers, and like the sick Rick is not dead yet, and the Rad Hazard is not dead yet. And one of the reasons why I did that is because I wanted other people to see those flyers and think, I want one of those. So like, I'm going to confirm to the show. So they would hit me up and say, I'm coming. Can I get a flyer? Send it out to them. Maybe 5 people that actually got a flyer and posted it didn't show up. But I mean, for the most part, like, I think that helped build excitement, and to see somebody like, oh wow, like Tony Deppen is coming to this show. Like, there it is right there. It's on a flyer. Like, Lee Andrews is at least coming to the show. Tommy Flambeau will be at the show. So like, you'll see those names and people that you maybe haven't seen for a while. And it's like, well, even though I might not know, CJ Smash, I know Tommy Flambeau and he's a friend of mine. So I want to go hang out with him. And I think that kind of stuff is what got people like Jonah to come, who's in the chat right now. Like, seeing a Soy Boy is not dead yet. It's like, well, I haven't seen Soy in forever, like, I'd love to see him. So I think that the flyers really helped keep everybody involved. And like, not only that, but it also kind of put pressure on them to actually show up. Because if you post the flyer and say, I'm going to be there, and people are expecting to see you, because another thing that I did was I had everybody post their own flyer. I didn't do it. I sent it to them, and I was like, whenever you want to confirm and whenever you're ready, post your flyer, so that they had to actually make the effort to show people, hey, I intend on coming to this show. And I think, like, as much as it is like a fun thing, it was also a little bit of peer pressure at that point. Like, you said you're coming, where you at, dude? Like, we want you to be there. You got your plans? And like, I was in contact with every single person, talking about like, whose car are you riding? Even you, we had a lot of talks about like, hey, how can you get out here? Well, I was going to come do it this way. And I'm like, well, this person's coming. Maybe you could ride with, like, I was doing that with everybody, dude. And it was like, maybe it didn't need to happen as much as I did for it whenever it came to BYG, because people were already together and they had a taste of it. And Kale didn't have to stay as like finger on the pulse, because everybody was like, I remember what last year was like, I just want to come, so just tell me the date and I'll be there. But for me, it had been so far removed that like, I had to keep it and just keep pushing and release videos and do official announcement videos, which is one of the first things I want to show here right now, just because we're on the topic of it. Sure. The first deal that I posted was this little guy right here, and this is the what is it called, the trailer, essentially the hype video. Like, let's go, here's a commercial, come to Pittsburgh. This is the debut of the logo. This is the first time anybody had seen it. The official post of the dates, September 28th and 29th. And this is what it was that got the people going. So we had some Sean Jovi comments, Rad Hazard, there's no turning back now, let's go. I'm equally as excited and terrified. This needs to bang. Terrified and excited is the exact mix needed for a show to be a banger. So like, when this was posted, me and you were already in it together, right? We were both feeling it and enjoying the process more than ever, which was fantastic.
I think there's definitely something to be said about the wrestling mindset. And even if some of the guys that we wrestle with never became pro or anything, there's a wrestler mindset that you can see, where once you are called out in a way, you go, oh, you said you were going to come, right? Well, here's a picture. Post it. Go ahead. I dare you. Go. Where's your balls? Let's see it. Come on, let's do it. What are you doing? And then they finally do it. And once they do it, it's like, damn, I'm committed now. And that goes right back to the old days. We all did that. We were all like, well, dang it, we said we were going. We're committed now. And so it's a little mind game, but it's one that it's a positive mind game. It's what some people need a kick in the ass, I'm sure. And that video, just icing on the cake, my brother.
Yeah, it was a let's go. I really love the way that it turned out. It felt like it felt like an Avengers movie to me a little bit, like just the color scheme and stuff. It was just like one of those things where I made it look exciting, and got a lot of people to talk about it and share it. And putting the logo out there and making the dates official really had my phone blowing up. Like, this is happening, right? Like, you're doing this now. And that's whenever everything became like really super real. And whenever everything became really super real, that's whenever we start discussing ideas for the show and the creative, if you will. We were in the writer's room and figuring out like how things were going to go in terms of the show, because the hangouts are always easy. We just get together, have fun. You know, we'll talk about the hangout venue in a little bit here, but in terms of like just the creative process for the show, one of the first things that got posted was from the brain of Rad Hazard, and you said that you weren't sure if people were going to look at you as that 2009 guy or whatever. And I think, I mean, at least like from my perspective, the Backyard Wrestling Weekly episode that you put out was a really good way to show people like, this is maybe what you remember me as, but like at the same time, you sprinkled in a lot of like who you are and like what you think about how you used to go about doing things. So you want to talk at all about how this Backyard Wrestling Weekly episode came to be?
Oh yeah, this is something that I've actually had a long time coming. It wasn't something I sprung out, you know, in the top of my head for the last minute or anything like that. I've had this idea literally years in the back of my head, because Backyard Wrestling Weekly ended, what, I don't even remember, like 2013 or something like that. And like those early episodes, everyone remembers me as the Backyard Wrestling Weekly guy. And I love that. I love that. But at some point, somewhere along the lines, I was so obsessed with like chronicling every little thing that happens, every event. And then sometimes it wouldn't have footage, or there'd be like some stalled stuff or something. And I remember at one point I was just so behind on the Backyard Wrestling Weekly episodes, and I totally lost the fun of just reporting, because I think reporting is fun. I mean, I have a media journalism background. Just reporting about my friends and these crazy people doing these crazy matches for 10, 15 minutes. That was the whole fun of it. And suddenly I'd become like obsessed with churning out this machine of music videos and results, and it was just blocked. It didn't mean anything anymore. And eventually I stopped doing it once I moved to the Northeast, and I just didn't have the time to make these huge chunks of shows that I was doing. So fast forward 10 years, and I never got to go back to that and just make it fun again. And so it was always in the back of my mind, if I ever had a reason to do another Backyard Wrestling Weekly series of episodes or just a big episode, I would make it as backyard wrestling as possible, but it would be fun. It would be characters, it would be personalities, it would be the silly antics of what we were and what we did, not just here's the news or whatever. And so to be able to finally do that for this show, it was perfect timing. You know, I was able to contact multiple people. I believe, if I remember right, everyone I contacted, including Tim Lee, who wasn't even going to be at the reunion show at all, like, was able to send me all the footage. By the way, whoa, nice biceps there.
Bro, you were yoked.
Yo, it's all the creatine, I swear. It's all the creatine. But creatine. No, hold on now.
Okay, well, no, we're not making any accusations. We're just talking. That's all.
Listen, I got a skin issue. I use some steroid cream, but that's different.
I got a skin issue too.
I feel you there. But so I'm living in this new apartment. I got all this setup. It's kind of similar to the original setup I used to have, which you saw in the music video. Just digital monitors instead of a TV. But to be able to take all these guys who vastly look different, by the way. So it just makes it even funnier that most of the guys except Mad Ecstatic kind of all look older and beat up. And
Mad Ecstatic looks amazing.
Yeah, Mad Ecstatic's phenomenal. He's doing great right now. He just wrestled in front of like 3,000 people in Pennsylvania.
I saw.
So
he deserves it, man.
Yeah, when I grow up, I want to be Matt Vertigo. I'll tell you that right now. But getting these guys, and everyone was willing to play ball. Everyone understood the assignment. If there were any mess ups or anything like you saw there, Ragnarok reaching for stuff, that was, I just said send me the raw footage and I'll play with it. So all that little extra stuff I just added in as if it was live. That was the whole fun of it, and that's the kind of stuff I wish I always did. And I don't want to make it about like, oh, I wish, but that was the kind of humor that I have now all the time. I am just 100% wacky guy like this all the time, and so to get everyone to play along, Sean Jovi, a guy that, everyone kind of passed over back in the day, now is wrestling all the time. I wanted to give him the time of day, kind of get people from different areas of the GBYWN. Like nobody else is really the Wisconsin guy, Look at Matt Vertigo. Look at this guy, Matt Ecstatic. What a dude. And Tim Lee himself had to film this in the middle of a field somewhere. Sent it to me at like 2 a.m. my time. Just in time to put it in the video. I think he was the last video I got.
Got to tell you, this is my favorite part.
Oh.
Can I be on the show? You don't want me on the show? Well, I would love to be on the show. Why can't I be on the show? Correspondent. That's me. It's a me. Let me be on the show. Please. Come on, man. Let me be on the show. Come on, right?
Oh my God.
Oh, man.
So I asked Killa K knows the assignment, first of all.
Yes. Yeah.
Killa K knows what people think of him and how to play it up and everything. I asked him, just send me a video just once asking, can I be on? I wanted to be a little clip. I said, just send me a clip. And he goes, I'm at work. I said, send it to me while you're at work. And that's him walking around wherever he works or whatever. And it's just that I don't know if he thought I was just going to use one of them, but he just sent me this row of him saying it over and over. I'm like, nah, I'm using this whole thing.
Oh my God. Every time that he started talking again, I laughed harder. Like, it was just so unexpected. And the first time that I watched it, I lost my entire mind. I think I went back and watched that part maybe 3 or 4 times before I even knew Henry was in the video. Like, it had me rolling, dude. I loved it.
Honestly, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure the Killa K one replaced somebody else who couldn't make it in time. And it was going to be their skit or something like that. Jeez. And
so,
yeah, that was great.
You want to talk about how it ends here? We got
well, the true news report here. You in the field, the actual field,
yeah. And we had so the audio quality is pretty trash on my end because I didn't take a microphone out with me. But essentially, the scheme of the whole video was like backyard wrestling's dead everywhere, and then you're just at your breaking point, and I come in, Rad. Backyard wrestling's not dead yet, bro. Come out to Pittsburgh. And yes, it's not dead yet. I loved it.
And can you imagine? I filmed, I think, all of that before I had like half the videos back. So I had to just hope that your video made sense for me to be cheering, or I'd have to go refilm everything.
Oh, I love it, man. Yeah,
I love that. I love that so much. Best episode of Backyard Wrestling Weekly ever. I learned so much.
And we'll talk more about Backyard Wrestling Weekly in the future here on the Yard Times podcast, because I'm sure there's plenty that you can go into, and there's a lot of questions that I have regarding the show. But this was just specifically just another thing to get people excited for It's Not Dead Yet and make them feel a little nostalgic. Like maybe it is still the day. It's not back in the day. It is the day right now. And we can still get together and we can still do this and have a great time doing it. This was one of the first, if not the first, video that came out in regards to the show. But there was a lot of creative that went on, and the creative direction for most of the pre-show build and promos circled around you and I. From my end of things, it was building to me versus Marcus Santafonte, where I did some skits with the SWC guys, and he fired up at us, and he said some like Marcus Santafonte-ass things, and then my guys went back and forth of like trying to talk me into doing it. I don't think he should do it. I don't think he's going to do it. And then Marcus said some more things, and then I got my friend Kurt Angle to cut a promo on Marcus Santafonte, which is one of my favorite things that I think I ever got to do in backyard wrestling. Kurt Angle calling Dawn a fucking idiot is literally priceless. There was a price, but that moment alone was priceless. It made it so worth it. I would have spent 5 times the amount of money that I spent on that to get that exact same thing if I knew that's what he was going to say.
I just want to point out, imagine if Cameo was available in like 2010. Think of all the weird shit we would have had wrestlers say for our storylines for years and years and years.
Yeah, oh yeah, no doubt about it. It would have been fantastic, and I'm actually very glad that didn't happen, so that I got to be the first one. Like I got to reap the benefits of it, so it paid off for me big time. Like he said, Pittsburgh pussy, and you're a fucking idiot back to back. I don't understand. Jonah, it's on the Golden Triangle Media YouTube channel. I'm not going to run it right now because we're a little far behind. But if you go on the GTM YouTube and just search Kurt Angle, it's in there.
Olympic hero.
Yeah, fantastic promo. In fact, I'll post it in the comments at some point. Maybe even somebody else can do that, like Sean Jovi or somebody in here. If you could share it in the comments, that'd be cool. But yeah, so I had Kurt Angle called Dawn a fucking idiot, and we rolled on. As far as your creative, and this is another thing where we can go back to like you not being sure if people would see you as the 2009 Rad Hazard. Because initially, whenever I first reached out to you, I said, "Hey, Rad, I want you to win the GBYWN Championship." And you're like, "That is awesome. I love that." And I'm like, "I want you to be a chicken shit heel bad guy who steals the title." And you said, "Please no."
Yes. First of all, I never wanted to win a championship that I booked. That was definitely something that I was always against, and I never did. Even when I was the DWA heavyweight champion, I wasn't the booker yet. I was by the time I got the belt, so technically I booked myself to lose it pretty quickly. So when somebody else was like, "Hey, we're going to put the GBYWN belt on you," I was like, "That is phenomenal. That's awesome. I'm ready to do it. Let's make it happen." But as you said, you were like, "Oh, let's do this heel stuff and everything." And I to your credit, you heard me out, and I said I'd rather not do that as a heel just because I'm not that kind of person anymore. And I really want this to be an event that, like, even when I win the title, it's not really about me, but it should be like a feel-good moment for everybody, that like a face won and it's a big moment for the community kind of thing. And to have that moment of acceptance from everybody, I thought that would bring everyone together in that moment way better than if I was a heel and just screw you guys, ha ha ha, and then they're throwing garbage or whatever. Like, this show wasn't really about that anyway. I wanted this show to be about feel-good moments all day, every day, and I never really got to showcase how I could be a face in the yard days. And in the indies, 99% of the time, I'm a face, and I love being a face, and I love working that way, and I think, you know, in those cases, the audience enjoys the moment a lot more, and I really wanted everyone to enjoy that moment at the end of my match as well. So to your credit, you allowed me to, give it a go. You said, "Hey, make a promo, see if people get behind it, and if not, we'll discuss it. But if they do, we'll run with it."
Yeah, absolutely. And like even at first, I mean, whenever you first, because we had a different venue set out immediately.
Yeah.
And the initial idea was for it to be a ladder match. And the venue that we had set up was incredible. It had a great skylight, and the skylight had bars that went across it, made perfect for hanging a belt. It would have made a very cool visual for a ladder match. And we had a whole bunch of cool ideas, and it was essentially like my first instinct was like, I want Rad to win the belt. I want him to get in last minute, do chicken shit, push someone off the ladder, win the belt. And then I think initially I had an idea where maybe you drop it the next day and we do the feel good moment on day 2 or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you had voiced your opinion to me, and it might have taken me a couple days to like really think it out and figure out the logistics of how I would go about it. But yeah, we did the promo idea, and when the ladder match turned into a elimination chamber style match just based on necessity, that's when we all meaning like I had a hand in talking with people, but we all put our promo minds together, and everybody that was involved in the elimination chamber match cut their own individual promo about why they should be given a GBYWN championship opportunity at It's Not Dead Yet. And I mean, lucky for us, nobody else decided to cut a promo that wasn't supposed to. Like, because we put it out there, we were like, "Hey, cut a promo, you know, say why you want to be in the video, or say why you want to be in the title shot." And it was just the people that were actually supposed to be involved that decided to cut a promo.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, anybody could have. I put it out there. I was like, "Hey, cut a promo," and literally nobody did that wasn't supposed to. So thankfully that worked out. Because if not, Andrew Wright would have had some explaining to do about why specific people weren't in the match. But so we get down that road, and you cut, what was it, like a 15-minute promo?
Yeah, way too long. But
I disagree. But
I had a lot to say.
Yeah.
By the way, maybe in the future we should show, because I think you had footage of the old venue, the original venue. Do you still have that footage?
Yeah, I do still have that
maybe
footage.
That's something we can show on here at some point, a little exclusive.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, you know, we had Andrew Wright ask everybody to send in promos. Never really thought about that. I don't know what we would have done if somebody else with you know, Killer Cake went.
Killer Cake, yeah.
Put me in the match. Put me in the match.
Yep.
Put me in the match. But that was, I took it as the opportunity to reestablish character, and I couldn't tell you what everyone else thought, but that was my goal, and to just be very real. That's something I've put a lot into with my wrestling now. I think of my character as just being myself, kind of turned down to like 9. I'm usually an 11 already in a lot of times.
Yeah.
But it's just me being me. It's just labeled as like, you know, the Rad Dad or whatever, Rad Hazard. So I wanted to give that kind of flavor and that kind of flair to the boys who've never seen it, and as well as telling my story. I've never really told people like what happened to me before and what's happened to me since. Obviously, we haven't like seen each other since like 2015 or whatnot. So being able to talk very candidly for 15 minutes, it was very powerful for me. I'm not going to lie, because I didn't know what I was going to say exactly. I just kind of had a vague idea of like, I'm going to tell people like what I wish everyone knew about me from like 2013 onward, really. And then since then. And so I sat there, I stared off, and didn't even look at the camera. I stared off, and I talked for 15 minutes, uncut. And when I was done, I thought about what I said, and I was like, I don't know, maybe I should do it again because it was very long. And I tried again, and maybe like a minute into trying again, I was like, I can never do that again. Like that was so real. It was so visceral and in the moment that I knew I couldn't cut it again. So I tried to edit it down. I had a 15-minute version. I think I had a 10-minute version, and then I had like 4 or 5-minute version or something like that. And I couldn't cut it down any more than that. I felt like there was too much that needed to be said. And then I asked you, I said, what version do you want? And you said, I want the 15. I said, okay. All right.
You sent me the full 15. You didn't. I didn't see the other cut down versions. You sent me the 15, and I sat here. I maybe fired up a little something, and I just gave it all I got. I just focused in on it, and I remember like my initial thoughts were like, this first minute or two, you got to get through it, and as soon as you do, and you get invested, you just listen to the story and you feel it. And by the time I got to the end of it, I'm like, you can't cut this. Like if people don't watch all 15 minutes or whatever, that's going to be their problem. But you had to tell your story your way, and you did it. So like taking anything out of that or changing what you did, the story that you wanted to tell and the way that you presented it, needed to be shown in its entirety, I think, to really get the feeling out of it that I personally got whenever I watched it. And after it was over, I was like, damn, I want Rad Hazard to win the world championship, you know, and like, which was obvious because I was booking it that way anyway.
Yeah.
But I actually was like, all right, this all makes sense. The babyface thing, the let's go get the strap thing, and like, let's fucking ride with Rad Hazard. Let's see where this shit takes us, you know? And when booking the Elimination Chamber match for the GBYWN World Championship, I'm not sure like how obvious it was to most people or whatever, but like the concept that I had essentially was like Henry Rotten, Florida, B Snow, Ohio, Domi, Chicago, Mike Wonder, Pittsburgh, Drake Cannon or Scotty Arrow or whatever the hell he wants to call
Orion.
himself, New York, Orion, yeah. And then Rad Hazard BXW, it just is like, for the most part, all of the major regions had been accounted for by somebody in the match. And I thought that it was important to try to do something like that. And not only was it people, but it was like people that maybe hadn't really had the opportunity to win the GBYWN championship before and be in that spotlight style match for the community. And it all went off exactly as I envisioned, and it was great to see. And even as we were leading up to the show, it was like we had a group chat where we were working together to figure out the angle. We were figuring out the elimination orders and stuff like that in the group chat weeks leading up before the show, just to try and find the right story that we wanted to tell and the best way to present getting the championship on Rad Hazard's waist, right?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I definitely got to say I'm glad in the end that you did post the entire promo. I think now I would really regret if the whole 15 minutes didn't go up, even if, you know, most people didn't see it or only half the audience that came to the show saw it. Like, so many people did come up to me, and you know who you are. They came up to me at the reunion show, and they're like, bro, I saw your promo, dude. Like, and gave me a big hug, and in a lot of ways, it felt like resparking a friendship or starting a new friendship, even in some ways. So it was very real in that way as well. So I appreciate that you went the full Monty with it and was like, no, we're going to post the whole thing, because I think I would kick myself now if it wasn't for that. As far as the match itself, I like, take what you will about the belt. It's just a belt. But what the belt represents is supposed to be the entire community. And that's regionally. That's geographically. And so to have, like, what do you do after 3-4 years where, how do you go, this is the GBYWN World title. What does it mean? Well, it means everybody. It means people from here. How do you represent everybody in one big match after all this time? You take 6 of us, you cram us together, you say this is from all 6 sides of the world kind of thing. And here you go. And the fact that it was also people who, you know, had never been champion before, other than obviously Henry. And even Henry had, you know, he had one run, but after that, like, he never really got a lot of moments to shine outside of that one run. So for him to even have this spotlight, it felt good. It felt right. I think my opinion, I think it ultimately ended up way better than a ladder match would have been, where there would have been a lot of start and stops. I love ladder matches, don't get me wrong, but you put 6 guys in there, you put a ladder in there, the ladder might break. There's a lot of unknowns. People falling off ladders, getting hurt, that kind of thing. We don't know what would have happened. But I think ultimately what we got was so powerful. I watched the final pin, the step-dead stunner into the pin, and just everyone genuinely reacting to the. And when I look at the reaction, I don't think of it as like my win. I think of it as a reaction for the, whoa, that was the whole match. You know, there's your the end to the movie. Like, oh, and that reaction was so powerful that you see me like slamming the mat because I just have so much fucking aggression and energy in me that I'm feeling right in that moment. that I'm literally just hitting the mat just to get it out because it's so good. And that's like the best feeling in the world for a wrestler, professional backyard, doesn't matter. Like that's the best feeling in the world is when you're surrounded by people just pure happiness about what they just saw. And you're a part of that and you're in the center of that. You're in the eye of the storm. That was everyone in that match, but it was also everyone in that fucking building, man.
Yeah.
That was a group effort in itself.
I agree. And as much as like we carefully crafted the match and the story leading up to it to get to that point, everybody still had to feel it. Like you could tell whatever kind of story you want, but at the end of the day, if the crowd's not vibing with it, they're not vibing with it. And like we worked really hard to get to that point where whenever that 3 count happens, hopefully we get that big euphoric moment, you know, like we're given the opportunity for it to happen, but whenever it did happen and that 3 count smacked and you were the champion, dude, the crowd gave us exactly what we were hoping to get out of it. And I just thought it was a fantastic moment. And like, so I wanted to talk about that match a little more in depth this time, because in the next episode, which is where we're eventually going to end up going with this, we're going to do a lot of media watching from It's Not Dead Yet last year. I wanted to spend a lot of tonight talking about the behind the scenes stuff and the leading up to it. One of my favorite memories from the before times, right as the show was about to happen, I was hanging out with my Discord friends, so like Scotty Arrow and Evan and a few other people that we're friends with around the country that we just met up with playing video games. We decided to use It's Not Dead Yet as an opportunity for us to get together. So like I had a couple of my friends who had nothing to do with our scene whatsoever, mine and Scott's friends, that decided to come to Pittsburgh and see like, what are these dudes always talking about? Like, this is how they said they met. And they're having another one, and what are they doing? Like reliving their childhood? What's going on here, right? And one of the 2 dudes specifically was like, I didn't understand until I was there. And whenever I was finally there with you guys and we were in the building and at the party church and all those things, I got it. Like the entire time up to it, it was just stories of weird kids backyard wrestling and traveling all over the place and stuff. And then when you're actually there and you see it and you're part of the brotherhood, even if you're not like one of the boys, so to speak, just as like an observer and somebody that's like thrown themselves into this community that had no idea what to expect. He even said like what I thought it was going to be and what it ended up being were 2 polar opposite things. And I couldn't be more happy that I went. Like, so that just a testament to our community and the times that we have together and the vibes that we put off whenever we're all together, that we were able to take somebody that had no idea what to expect and give them a great weekend, you know? And so I spent a lot of time with them, leading up to going up to New Kensington. But as I was at the B&B that I was at with them before the show, I loved going on Facebook and seeing everybody posting their car picture. Like, hey, we're gearing up in New Jersey. Hey, we're gearing up over here in Michigan, you know, like just one at a time. Oh, Florida's at the airport posting selfies, you know. And that was just such like, oh, let's go. Like we're doing this, man. I went through and saved every one of those pictures. Like just that moment, like I knew it was coming because like I was already at the first B&B I was staying at. I knew where I was going. I had been to the venue already. But those pictures coming in, man, it was like, here we go.
I feel you there. I also, any wrestling event I am a part of, I save all the media for it. Every match, posters, that kind of stuff, because you know, even if you weren't in a match or a particular thing, you were there and that, like, you were a part of that and you'll remember that vibe, you know. Our brand of backyard wrestling is its own feeling. You know, you got to feel it. The reason we do the insane things that we did was because we felt something special. And wrestling's weird in that way. Like, watching it is one thing. Hearing about it is one thing. Seeing it, being there, feeling it, totally different thing. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, once you're around people like that, our guys, it's a whole nother beast. It's a whole nother beast. And you immediately get it. You immediately get it, no matter who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And with saying that, I mean, we're going to have a lot of our personal feelings about how we saw the goings on of the show and our first, like, the first time I saw everybody again and walking into the building or walking into the church or whatever. We're going to probably tell more of our side of that story on the next episode. But for tonight, you and I both went on to the GBYWN Epicenter and asked the guys, just like, it's been a year. What do you remember? What do you want to talk about? Like, do you have anything that you want to say? And my post on the music video didn't really get too much attention in terms of that. I think it was more or less just about the music video, but you made sure to post again today and ask people like, hey, we're going live. If you have anything you want to say, why don't you throw it out there and we'll talk about it. So I'm going to throw that up on the stage right now and let you look through and we'll see what a couple people have to say. How do you feel about that?
I figured out the mystery. I figured out the secret. It's putting text on a photo. That's what you got to do. You put text on a photo, people will respond. Learn that from the indies. There we go. Tell us your memories 1 year later. And I wasn't sure what we were going to get. I thought we were either going to get a lot of responses or like 2, and one of them would be Killer K being like, why didn't you put me in the main event?
Okay, well, real quick before you say that, Killer K was scheduled to be in the day 2 main event until he hurt his ankle, but we'll talk about that next episode.
That is true. That is true. He still should have been the main event, in my opinion. All right, let's do the rundown here. First of all, the logistics. How were the logistics? That's what Russ needs to know.
It was probably just as difficult as it is to pronounce that word. There was a lot that went into it, and I gave it my all for 360 consecutive days, and I talked to 1 million people, and plans changed 5 times, and there was maybe a week and a half where I went completely dark from replying to anybody because everything kind of got fucked, and I had to dig my way out of that hole before I could even answer another question, and it all came together to end up being the perfect place with the perfect B&B on the perfect street in the perfect town at the perfect time. So as much as everything was absolutely absurd to get us to that point, whenever we finally got there, I couldn't ask for anything different.
I'll tell you this. If there's a booker who actually got to execute their plan A, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, right. And plan B was actually better than plan A.
And it usually is. It actually, I would say it always is, to be honest. Tim Lee himself, can't believe I missed this show. I want to hang out with all you guys. Fun fact for you. You saw the Tim Lee part of my Backyard Wrestling Weekly video. There is some stuff I cut out. At the very end, he does his skit, and then he looks off for a second to show a cut. But then he looked back at me and he goes, just want you to know, Rad, I haven't told anybody I'm not going to be able to make this. So I don't know if you want to put this part in the video or not, but I just want you to know I'm real sorry I can't make it. And I felt so bad. I was like, no, I'm not going to add this into the video. This is so sad. No, yeah. I felt terrible. So I know Tim Lee wanted to be there. Tim Lee's doing some awesome stuff on the indies out there. And I know in a perfect world, he would be at every reunion show possible multiple times a year in the States. He loves us to death, and we love Tim Lee. Let's see. We got Henry Rotten here. The love I felt from exiting my Uber when I arrived at the church was such an insane feeling. I was only at the church on Sunday, but I still felt the love for the few people who were still there that day. The round table of chatter in the room connected to all the bedrooms was such a time.
So the way that the church layout was set up is like there was one massive room that we all hung out at. There was one like sleeping 6 style bedroom on one side of it, and then you go down in this little hallway, and there was a small like living room-esque area or dining room, whatever you want to call it, with just like a table in the middle of it. And around the table and around the room, there were like 6 different doors that all had just enough room in these rooms for a bed. It was like a bunch of closets around the outside of a dining room. So basically, like the little room that connected all these closet bedrooms together was a big hangout spot for the people that stayed.
Am I wrong in remembering that the television was actually a projector?
The television in the great room was a projector. Yes.
It's so cool.
We
It's
used
so
it to watch like full backyard wrestling matches from our day. And something that I have video of that I'm going to bring up next episode is I have a video of all the old heads watching the Abyss music video and just standing there like pointing and seeing like, oh, that was cool when you did that, you know, like just living their glory days. It was great.
That is awesome. I still, to this day, since I was a kid, I always wanted a projector television. I thought that was the coolest thing. 37 now, still think it's the coolest thing. But let's see. Being surprised by the attendance of two of my favorite people on this earth, Steve West and Alex Zane, while not even thinking they would be there. That's true. Alex Zane was a huge surprise to me.
Let me tell you this. He was supposed to wrestle, and then he got hurt like the week before or 2 weeks before. And then I told Lee, because one of the reasons that sold Lee on coming was like, hey, Zane's going to be there. Like I told him whenever he was like, I'm done. I can't make it to the show or whatever, you know? And I'm like, well, I mean, I know you're saying you can't make it and it might be a little expensive, but Zane's going to be here. I know you're really close with him. Trey was supposed to be there, and that was going to be like the main event was going to be Zane versus Trey. Ooh. And then whenever Zane got hurt and backed out, Trey did the same. And then I told Lee, and then Lee hit up Zane after I talked with him and said, yo, you don't have to wrestle. Why don't you just come anyway? And he's like, oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, sure. They didn't even bother telling me. He just showed up after he told me he wasn't going to be there. So I was worked. And like he was hanging out with Dominic while I was on the phone with Dominic, and he just didn't tell me. He's just like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. We'll be there eventually, whatever. And so him walking into the room, someone's like, is that Zane? I'm like, no, he's not coming. I tried. And they're like, no, that's Zane right over there. And I looked, I'm like, you motherfucker. And honestly, Steve West was very similar. He only told me, and I talked with him for a little bit, and he was like, all right, I'll hit you back up to confirm. And then he never did. And then I'm like, oh, I guess he's not coming. And then he just shows up.
That's nuts to me. And the fact that Alex Zane just got off, injured too, but just got off a New Japan tour and then went, you know what? I'm not even going to, I'm just going to hang out with the boys. That shows really what kind of guy he is, you know, a real friend
no
of the
doubt.
community. Not
Bro,
there
he bought
to
us pizza.
Show off.
He bought pizza for the whole table, like 5 extra large tables just to sit there.
Legend.
We sat at the benches outside of the pizza place while we were eating the pizza he paid for, while he also told us the story about how he got the Taco Bell sponsorship. And we were just staring at him like, is this really happening right now?
I don't even know that story. I'm gonna have to hear that at some point.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
The fact that he's got those abs and he just eats Taco Bell and orders pizza. Are you kidding me? Like, come on.
Unreal.
Come on now. All I got is creatine over here. Anyway. Let's see. Getting to work, fellas. I have never gotten the chance to work with in the past real bucket list opponents. And that's true. I've never wrestled Henry Rotten as a singles, like even though it was a 6-way. As a singles, never happened. Guys like Mike Wonder obviously never wrestled with Henry before that I remember. You know, all those guys. Domi, come on now. Domi never got to go to a lot of the super shows after like 2011. I think he had one BXW appearance ever.
Yeah, so that was for BYS6 actually.
That's right. You're right. That was at the BXW venue, but not even for BXW technically.
Right. And like that was part of what I was trying to do with booking. I was either trying to entice people by saying stuff like, "Hey, you always wanted to wrestle this guy and never got to. Now's the chance." Mm-hmm. Or I would hit them with, hey, here's one last opportunity to wrestle with one of your favorite people or best friends. Like in Danny versus Ben scenario, where it's like, hey, you guys want to do one last time for the Connecticut people? Like, I have an opportunity for you, you know?
And that was definitely the way to go, for sure. I don't know if anything can top Ange asking me to eliminate her in the gauntlet because she says she trusts me completely with her safety. And boy, he definitely protected her, but that was an insane awful waffle. I'll tell you that right now. That could be one of the moments of the weekend for sure.
Incredible moment, absolutely. Mm-hmm. The way that it wasn't done perfectly. It wasn't the cleanest thing I've ever seen in my life, but it was like he really just did that, and the crowd felt it, dude. Like people were down to see that shit happen, which was great.
And that's our way, man. Sometimes it ain't perfect, but we make that moment, man. We make the moment happen. I would love to just get one weekend a year to do this all over again with all of you. And I couldn't agree more, Henry. I hope we do meet again soon, and I'm sure you will be at more reunion shows. There will be more. The show must go on. Let's see. Troy Allen from 3BW. 3BW, right? Backbreakers Wrestling.
Yeah.
Brutal. Yeah, whatever it is. My response to the BYW drop is that it was a great final edit. So, like I said, another chapter, final chapter in the story. That weekend is so incredible. It was like walking into a time warp. Like no time had ever been in between. And I absolutely agree with that. In a lot of ways, the people I met, like BRB, always been a great friend of mine, but I haven't seen him in, at that point, like 6 years. It was like no time had passed. And that's just one of dozens of people like that. Henry, I seen him in the last couple of years, but same idea. Seeing so many old faces and even meeting new guys made me miss all the wows we had shared. And that's another thing. A lot of people hadn't met each other before in that sense, or it just kind of been two ships passing. Like, I feel like, I can only speak for myself. I feel like I talked to almost everybody at some point that whole weekend. I think everyone kind of got to interact in a way that maybe they don't always. That we were always stuck to our little cliques or our little groups, or I got to leave soon, so we're not really talking to everybody. I feel like everyone talked to everybody at least a little bit the whole weekend.
Couldn't agree more. I think that was one of the biggest parts of the It's Not Dead Yet weekend was it felt like cliques evaporated. Yeah. And while like everybody still had their friends and whatnot, it was like nobody was there to only hang out with their 4 people. Everybody wanted to talk with everybody. We all wanted to catch the vibes as much as we could from as many people as we could. And I think that was a huge benefit to the hangouts, having like no defined sections of people outside of like, there were little things like the people in that room at the party church that were playing cards together, whatever. But that wasn't like a clique. That was just a group of people that gathered together for a amount of time,
Right.
And I think that was one of the best parts of the whole weekend was that the whole clickiness, while it always existed to an extent, it didn't at that show.
Yeah, there was no vibe of intimidation or don't talk to me. There was none of that. Like everyone approached everybody. No matter where they were, what they were doing, everyone felt super approachable. That's for sure. I'm going to get a little personal here, though. The best part is what came after, as I had been quite a shell of communication to people for years, not reaching out. That weekend alone blossomed so many more outlets of people in my life again that it really brought so much positive energy that I had been missing. It even helped propel me as one of the last big events I ended up drinking at. And after that, I haven't touched alcohol in a year coming up. Hey, congratulations, my friend.
My man.
That is phenomenal. That's phenomenal. That's willpower, man.
Mm-hmm.
I respect that greatly. Not saying drinking's bad or anything, but
right.
When you don't want to drink anymore and you got that willpower, a lot of respect for that. It's not easy. It was so well put together and such a blend of fun. I was sad I had to miss day 2, but it struck me right in the feels and led to going all out for BYG8. And they went all out. Troy was in that 8-man tag. They went crazy in that match. I loved it.
And they had their own big build leading up to it with a bunch of promos and stuff. Like he was down to ride whenever he had the opportunity.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to speak for them, but they wanted that match to matter. It was our mindset back then that we always wanted our match to be the match that like stood out, right? And they had that mindset from the beginning. Thank you. I thought it was brutal backbreaking wrestling, and I was like, nah, it's not brutal, right? But it is. Brutal backbreaking wrestling, brother. Ooh, say that 5 times fast. It's almost.
I almost did it. I was thinking about doing it, but I didn't. No,
dude,
keep rolling.
Don't do it. Don't do it. We only got so long. It's almost like I found myself again as I had been living for my kids all these years. Not a bad thing, by the way. It was nice to just get up with my get with my guys that we had so much to catch up on, some old times and make some new. truly a special trip I will never forget. And we all need that. We all need some us time with the boys. Like, you know, I got a wonderful girl here, but once in a while I got to hang out with the boys, you know, and when you don't get to do that, especially with the people that he was very close with for many years, it's like you're missing a piece of yourself. So I'm really glad that has motivated him to go into this brand new chapter of his life.
Yeah, and as much as I sold the show as like potentially being the last time, or at least the first time in a long time that we have all seen each other and would get to see each other, one of the weird things about it was it ended up being like in the way like a rebirth of the whole community and the friendships like coming back alive. And I believe that it was whenever I talked with you on our first episode and you brought up how sad it was when we were leaving BXW goodbye, and how just nobody wanted to leave the venue because we didn't want it to be goodbye, right? And one thing about this show is like when everyone was leaving, we all knew we were going to see each other again. Like nobody was crying. Everybody was like, I'm so happy we did this. We got back together. Can't wait to see you next year or in 2 years or whenever we get to do this again. I'm excited to do it. And like it was such the opposite of BXW goodbye that it was almost like a reboot or like a restart to our community. At least, like, I mean, it'll never be 8 super shows a year and traveling around every weekend. Like, where none of us are able to accomplish that type of travel schedule anymore, especially just for fun. But not like we're back. We did it. And we have those friendships again, and some even new friendships, maybe people that you've known for 15 years that you never really got that close to. And now all of a sudden, because of this show, it's like, oh, we're friends.
Absolutely. New chapter. I always think of it as a new chapter because we're continuing on with what was already a great story and doing some great stuff. This next one's for you, so I'm gonna speak it out, and then you can answer it for you. Good old Vicious Fan Valley himself, Marcus Centofonte, asks, such a fun weekend. Looking back, was it everything Rick wanted? Does he have the itch to wrestle yet again? And why is Hack ducking Marcus Centofonte, Rick?
All right, so we'll go end to beginning here. Hack is ducking everybody, and he has since 2010. I have tried to get him to have a retirement match as a tag team partner or an opponent or against anybody else. I have tried over and over and over again, and he just knows how good he is, and nobody's worth his time, which I don't blame him. I mean, he's an all-time GOAT, so what are you going to do about it? Like that red hair and like the way that he landed on his head, he knows what he has. He knows what he has to offer, and yeah, it just is what it is with him. As far as the itch to wrestle again, I am very much out. My story, so to speak, the Cody Rhodes thing, like I finished my story. I'm very, very happy with how I ended it. I wouldn't change barely a single thing about the final match that I got to have. And I feel 98% better whenever it comes to my shoulder. But I mean, we're a year removed and I still feel a little bit of the repercussions from throwing 5 lariats at a bigger man, 250, 60 pound plus dude. A little behind the scenes, I tore my rotator cuff after that. I couldn't move my arm for 2 months. It was not good, but I didn't complain about it publicly because like, it was one of those things where like I booked the show. I wanted the match. I knew what I was doing. I didn't need the sympathy. I was happy to have had the match. And so I just didn't want it to be out there that I like actually did some damage until we're far enough removed from it now that like it's pretty much fine. But like I went out to the pumpkin patch the other day and tried to throw a football and it didn't really work. So I'm calling it a quit on the whole wrestling thing. It was fantastic for me while it lasted, and I am very, very proud of the last match that I got to have, and I wouldn't want to sully that with some type of Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Undertaker, Kane disaster. So I'm going to call that a day. And was it everything I wanted it to be? Dude, literally, as soon as everybody was there, it was everything I wanted it to be. there was stuff like media related that I think maybe we shot for the stars a little too high on, and maybe didn't need to go as hard as we did, and it made my life a lot more difficult than it needed to be coming out of the show. So like in terms of that kind of stuff, I maybe would have done that differently. But as soon as everybody showed up, it was already everything. Like I didn't care what happened after that. I couldn't write it any better. You know, I knew what it was going to be, and it was everything I knew it would be. And I left feeling very satisfied, like feeling like I accomplished exactly what I wanted to accomplish. So like, was it everything I wanted it to be? Yes, and more.
Good. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with ending your wrestling career on any sort of note like that. So many people stay way past their welcome. You know, I'm very much the same way right now. I love wrestling, and I have no aspirations of leaving. But once you knock it out of the park, why would you swing ever again?
Yep.
And I totally understand that. And I definitely hope if that happens to me, that I will be ready, willing, and able to walk away as well, because I think it is the right thing to do. You know, once the story's written and it's a beautiful story, why make an epilogue? Why continue? Why?
Absolutely.
You've already done it. You did the thing.
I did the thing. And, you know, I wanted to do the thing. like the whole time I was talking with Don, like leading up to the show, he was like, so are you wrestling? Who are you going to wrestle? And I'm like, oh, if I wrestle, it'll be against you. Like, I was just like, that's what we're going to do. If I wrestle, I know the story. And he was like, I'm not even sure if I'm in shape to do that. And I'm like, well, we'll talk about it and we'll figure it out as time goes. But like, if I wrestle, it's either against Ed or you, and it's not going to be against Ed. So,
because he's ducking everybody. So.
Yeah,
of course. Benjamin right back here. Every moment I had, from the moment pulling into the parking lot and seeing some dudes to literally sitting in the corner of the big space, and just took the moment to see everyone hanging out, talking about the highlights, catching up. It was a beautiful scene of what this community is all about. I don't know if you did that at any point. I definitely looked out and just kind of surveyed the scene and how incredible this was, like any of this was happening, and just looking at people. I was just looking at people, being like, I can't believe these people are here.
I took a video of it. I have it. Like it's on my phone right now. I don't have it anywhere that I could play it, but I took a video of the moment, so I could not only live in it, but relive it later.
Good. We are all idiots. I agree with that.
Truth.
And I would kick a prick for any one of you. Well, that's good.
Well, that's nice. We appreciate it, bud.
Kick all the pricks. I love what we have for wrestling. The love we have for wrestling grew into love for one another with an elbow. I needed that weekend so bad. With everything going on in our lives, we still made it happen, and I believe Scott was proud of us. I'm proud of us. I love you all. I truly hope to see you all again soon. That's beautiful, man. Thank you for that.
It's great. Yeah, I love BRB. I've always been pretty close with him, been able to talk with him about a lot of different things. He's a fantastic person, and the sentence that sticks out to me is, I really needed that. And the amount of people that left the show saying that kind of stuff, or said it while they were at the show or whatever, like, we all needed it. Like, for whatever reasons, for whatever we had going on, post-COVID, new lives, adult stuff, problems, outside world stuff, for all of us, everybody had a reason why they needed that weekend to happen. And I think that was another thing that lended to the good vibes, because everybody wanted to be part of the reason why it was a good time, and everybody wanted to enjoy the good time together. So if I want to have a good time, I have to be a good time. And I think that attitude was just so infectious that, like, it gave everybody exactly what they were looking for.
Yeah, and I can agree wholeheartedly. I definitely needed that weekend as well. Marky Nas himself. You know, this weekend was absolutely amazing in literally every facet. Being so far removed from the squared circle and a huge part of this community for so long, I was thinking, hey, this show would be fun to catch up with some peeps I haven't heard from in a while. And that actually translated to, I'd fucking kill for this community. Everyone here is fantastic. I miss this vibe and everyone in it. Well, we're telling you right now, we don't condone murder.
We don't
any sort of way.
No, here on Golden Triangle
all
Media,
day, but don't. Yeah.
no felonies, no felonies. Misdemeanors are fine. We don't condone felonies on Golden Triangle Media.
There's a reason that there's no guns in wrestling.
If you want to go to the channel that condones felonies, go check out the SWC videos page on YouTube, because they've stolen everybody's music, and it's a bunch of copyright infringement over there, and probably a body part or two that shouldn't have been put on YouTube, but the channel's still there, so whatever's there is there.
Yeah. If it's online forever. All right. I'd like to specifically highlight one interaction. Chris Hutton coming up to me to shoot the breeze. I haven't seen him since 2011, and the whole of those Iowa dudes were not the most friendly cats. I agree, but they were friendly in private. So there's that. It's weirdly enough, most people thought like Spartan Drew Barton and I had a lot of heat, and we never had heat. We were we actually talked a lot all the time in private. We were pretty close back then. So
it was publicly as a group. Yeah. They presented as pricks to be kicked by BRB, but whenever you actually broke it down into one-on-ones, all nice dudes.
Oh yeah. Which I remember even Chris Hutton himself didn't know that. I was like, yeah, Spartan and I used to talk all the time on AIM.
Yeah.
He didn't even know. That's how like close-knit that was. But a simple conversation and buried tensions that I haven't felt since the 2010s. We all grew. We all healed. That's true. We are by and far one of the greatest collectives of people, and I'm glad to call all of you my friends. And look at that guy who most of the people he hadn't even seen since 2011, and just one weekend, and all those emotions rushed back. Lifetime friends. That's what we have here in this community. Lifetime friendships.
Absolutely. And a quick note on the Chris Hutton interaction. Funny enough, like that's one of my biggest takeaways from that weekend too, was that he and I had an interaction, and he came up to me. It was pretty brief, but it was, Rick, I just want you to know how much it meant to me that you reached out to me and made me feel like I was wanted to be here. And that, because like a lot of the people that I talked to, I told pretty much everybody the same thing. Like, you're one of us. You should be here. We want you. Like, if you are in the community, you are one of us and you should be here. And he's like, I didn't think that anybody cared whether I was here or not, but you were running the show and made it a point to reach out to me multiple times. And like, even when he said, he didn't think he was going to be able to make it, I checked back in with him afterwards, and I was like, still not going to make it. Not sure what's going on, whatever. And he's like, I'm not sure, man. You know, it's not looking good. And then he hit me up a couple days beforehand and said, like, I'll be there. And I'm like, yes, let's go. You know, like, I'm happy. I'm excited to see you. And then he said, at the show, he was like, you don't know how much it meant to me that you cared that I was coming. And I was like, bro, I wanted all of us. Like, and that was, so it was just like such a heart to heart that he and I had, that like, you know, I wanted him to be there and he wanted to feel wanted. And it was great, you know?
I think that's a big part of it. Everyone wanted to feel wanted. And that's why like having the little indie posters and having like the advertisements, the promos, like everyone wanted somebody to say, we want you here. And I hope and I feel like everybody got that at some point. They felt like they were there because everyone really wanted them there. Really, you know. Chongo chimes in, says Chris Hutton is the fucking man. Second that. Somehow all of Iowa liked me, but to this day he stands out as a bright spot. I'm surprised anybody likes Chongo. Just kidding.
Now, everybody literally loves Chongo, and he shits on himself a lot. Like, surprisingly, they liked me or whatever. What did he say? Somehow they liked me. Like, dude, everyone likes you. People like you, Chongo. You are great. You are hilarious to be around. You're a nice guy. People fucking like you. So accept it.
Since I met Chongo in 2009, he's had this problem. He's never going to accept it. Devin Bliss.
Devin Devine.
Wow.
That's a hell of a vision.
Now you know it's getting late. Devin Bliss says Chris is easily the best of Iowa. And then we go down to Chase Burnett. I think
this is kind of the headliner for me, because as far as the way people felt and reacted and interacted with me about the show and what it meant to them, I think that Chase Burnett Combat Kid is probably the shining example for how people felt in general about the show. Like all his comments and all that stuff, it reflects the community very well.
He and I have talked a bit after the show, even during the show and then after the show, and it really touched him in a way. Not to speak for him, but I know it really touched him. It blew a fire into him, man. It lit something inside of him that he's still talking about to this day. How that show really motivated him, and I like to think it even helped in his wrestling right now. He's probably more motivated than ever. He's doing really great stuff on the indies. Mm-hmm. He says, we got to do it again the exact same. Please, thank you. Now, is that venue available anymore?
The T2T building is no longer a wrestling venue. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if it got rented out to anybody else or what exactly is going on in there, because as you know, the neighborhood that it was in isn't necessarily like bustling, you know. Right. So there's a pretty good opportunity that nothing is currently in there, but that also means that there is not a wrestling ring in there. So in order for us to be able to find a way to rent it for a weekend or what have it's not really feasible in my opinion. But you know, we'll see.
What about the original venue? Is that even a possibility in the future?
Oh no, God, no. That if you want to know more about that story, it's on my interview from the documentary. I posted my full interview. It's like a 40-minute long video, and it'll let you know what happened there. But we have ideas. We have things. Trust me.
Always ideas.
There's things, so we'll see how we can do things.
There you go, Sick Rick with the hot ideas. All right. Chase says, first time walking into the church, I knew it was going to be special time, man. I told Don like an hour in that we obviously needed to do it again. Chris Frank surprise match. By the way, Chris Frank coming out, that was a treat and a half, I'll tell you right now. It's the guy I always say trained me. A man that I literally just went out and had a double date with at a hibachi restaurant like I don't know, a month ago. Love Chris Frank to death. So I was actually really happy to be at what's probably going to be his last match. That was really awesome.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And I love he had already talked with me about doing the gauntlet before he cut his pre-show promo, where he was like, you know what, guys, I'm not going to be able to wrestle. I can't. I've had seizures, whatever. I have all these medical issues that is not going to allow me to wrestle anymore, but I want you guys to go kill it for me. Like, go do it for Chris Frank. Mm-hmm. And like Chris Frank came out and like, you know what? I'll just do it for myself too while I'm here. You know, we got this idea and had it all set up. And it was a beautiful moment. And like, as much as the music video that I just made was like bookended by you, I think 3 of the biggest moments in the music video were intentionally Chris Frank related. Like, he was the last person you see before the door closes. He's the last entrance that got made because it was a surprise thing. And then him hitting the go to cock technically ended like the highlights music video part of the show. So yeah, I mean, like it was a Rad Hazard and Chris Frank music video for sure. Big fan of what he brought to us, not only that weekend, but as a community over time.
Absolutely. And just a side note, I would recommend looking up the Johnny Cockstrong 1-minute Iron Man match. It's one of my favorite wrestling matches I've ever seen. No hyperbole there. 1-minute Iron Man match is phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. I won't even explain it. I think it was against Dick Justice, if I remember right. Getting to see Jonah Rigger, guys I never thought I'd see again. As we said, a lot of people showed up. We didn't know if they were going to be there or not. Watching the boys go harder and realizing that I had to top it for the main was interesting. And I absolutely agree. That's why I didn't think I should have been the day 2 main event, because I knew how hard everyone else was going. And Killer K,
we're going to talk about that. Yeah, we're going to talk about that for sure next episode.
Absolutely. Sharing our favorite memories of Scott, of course. By the way, that was an absolutely beautiful opening to the show. I hope people have said that. I was touched, man. I really was. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like to an extent it kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit just because of all the positive vibes of the weekend. But also, like, I sent it to the people that I thought needed to see it before the show even happened, like the Dan McCabe's of the world and stuff like that. So like I made sure that it was out there and that it got the stamps of approval that I wanted it to get before I decided to air it. And yeah, plenty of people have talked about how much justice that video did for his role in our community, which is pretty much the only thing I wanted to do with it, is just shine some light on how important he was and the kind of wrestler and person that he was for our community. So that was pretty much the whole goal of it, and I think it worked out pretty well. It pretty much, like, I would say, like 25-30% of the building was in tears, and like it pretty much brought me there too. And that it was a hell of a thing to not only make it, but to sit there and watch it with everybody, for like, because everybody in the building had been seeing it for the first time. And it was a groundswell of emotion, because it's like, yeah, we're here, and it's like, now watch this video about a friend of ours that isn't.
I mean, at the same time, though, that reminded me of something I was going to say earlier and forgot, that even though it was a sorrowful moment, I think there was a positivity to it, that people were like, this is why we're here. This is why we're having a good time. He's with us in spirit, whether you're spiritual, religious, however you want to interpret that. We're here for him. We're here with him. We have his, we have that positive spirit to do what he would want us to do. We're going to make it happen. And the same thing with, at the end, you were talking about the end of the event, the weekend, there was a positive anticipation for the future. And I always, this is something I've been talking with people lately about, is that the world needs more positive anticipation for big things coming in the future. They need to feel like what they're doing and what's about to happen is going to be something great and something positive, and to be excited about it. And it was a somber moment, of course, but to open the show that way, not only hammered down the idea of why we're all here, but why we need to kill it and why we need to have a good time for a great man.
Mm-hmm. And I invite everybody to watch that on the Golden Triangle Media YouTube channel right here. It's the Scott Henson Backyard Wrestling tribute video at the beginning of a few different playlists I have, just to make sure that it gets out there. And even still, like, watch it, share it, leave a comment on it about Scott. It's an old saying, but like, every man dies twice, once whenever they leave the earth and once whenever their name is last said. And someone like Scott, especially for our community, I would like it to be a long time before that happens.
1000%. I agree with you. Let's get back to this. Another great highlight, getting breakfast with the boys was a great bonding experience. Getting breakfast was awesome. That was fantastic.
I was a little more in Booker mode during breakfast time. I would wake up and immediately go to the venue, clean up, make sure everything was ready to go. So while people was doing like the breakfast restaurant and Eaton Park and stuff, I famously had gotten coffee and went straight to the venue, as I said, all 3 of the days that I was there. But yeah, there was stuff that needed to be done down there for me, so I took a lot more of my bonding time in the evening. But yeah, definitely feel like I missed out on breakfast.
Absolutely, I understand that. I mean, I will get into my experience, but I pretty much lived off of Pizza Hut for I don't know how many days. Saturday night at the church was very special. Literally stayed up all night, just bonding and reminiscing as we slowly got more sore. Yes.
Yeah.
You want it?
So I was one of the first people that tried to go to sleep, because I had such a long day and I did everything. And as I'm laying in there attempting to fall asleep with borderline no voice, I hear this slightly smaller than me bald man walk in and say, "I know that you don't think you're going to sleep, do you?" And I was like, yeah, I kind of did. And he's like, "Well, you're not. We're going to talk." And he sat down on the bed that was adjacent to mine, and maybe 25 minutes of me trying to get words to come out of my throat, because like, it was so scratchy. And he champed it out. He played along, talked with me as if I was talking perfectly fine, and he heard every word I was trying to say. And shit got real in that room. It was pitch black because I was trying to sleep. So it was just like a dark room where I borderline felt like I was talking to myself, and it was just him expressing like what we were doing that weekend and what he thought that it meant and what it meant to him personally, and what me telling him he was the main event did for him, not only like emotionally, but like psychology wise, and how he felt about finally getting the opportunity to main event a Backyard Wrestling Super Show. Like, it was just an insane conversation. And that's why he said like it got deeper and deeper as the night went on. But then, so he leaves the room, and then the rest of the people sleeping in my room, my Discord people, Scott, Evan, Duff, all the others, start piling in one at a time. And then we're all like, all right, we are going to sleep now. Not so fast. In comes KK again to stand up on top of dressers and openly admit, I'm in here because I'm an attention whore, so give me some of it. Like, just openly saying, I'm on this dresser right now because I'm an attention whore. And it's just like, well, if you're gonna be so honest about it, I'll give you some attention. And he's fucking lining up elbow drops to hit on air mattresses and shit. And eventually it's just like, we can't tell him to leave, but like, whenever you feel like leaving.
Hey, listen, I'll reward honesty all day. But
yeah, for sure.
And he mentions that the conversations got deeper as the night went on, and we all kind of understood and appreciate how special this was when it was happening. And I'm sure the conversations you had, without divulging exactly what it was, I'm sure there are deep conversations that he really couldn't have with anybody else, you know?
Right.
A lot of the conversations we had that weekend are so personal, so one-on-one, because we were all experiencing different things in that moment, that that's probably experience. That's probably a conversation you can never have again, you know, with anybody other than you. That's really special in that way.
No doubt about it. Him and I had no prior history before this show. And even whenever I hit him up about coming and he seemed like partially excited, he was one of the people that I reached out to that I was like, if there's anybody else from the link that you want to talk to and see if they can come out to the show, like maybe anybody that I missed or whatever, if you wouldn't mind reaching out for me. And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And he tried a couple people, and like he had stories about people that turned it down. They were just like, why would I do that? I'm a professional now. I get paid for it. And like, he was like, that person and other people like that are gonna really regret that they didn't come out here. And like that, we talked about that night. And like, even after he had his main event match, it was still like I knew him and I talked to him and we were cool. And then whenever he came into my room to have that conversation, he left, and I'm like, me and Jason are friends now, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I consider him a really good friend now too, as well. We got Orion here. He just says teeth, and I'm not quite sure what that means. I don't remember the teeth joke.
So I think he's actually trying to make up an inside joke that didn't actually happen and just see if we'd be like, oh yeah, teeth. But no, I think this is a fib, and I think that it's full on kayfabe, and I don't think there was a teeth joke.
You know what? I think Orion is an inside joke, and we're all laughing at him. So there you go. No, just kidding. Love you, Scott. Sean Silver says Team Beyond running the beer pong table, the breakfast restaurant, the waitress that kept setting up sexual innuendo jokes. I don't know about this. Do you know about this?
I wasn't there. I wish I were.
We're gonna have to get him to comment again later. Tell us a little more. Chris Frank's surprise match, of course. Drinking at the church with everyone. And we got Matthew here saying, I still think about how great that breakfast place was. This must have been like one of the best breakfasts of all time. I mean,
they talked about it that weekend.
I mean, I went to the Pizza Hut. There was no sexual innuendos there. It was just pizza.
It was just pizza.
Rob says,
pepperoni.
Right. Rob asked what time the show was. Well, the show's happening right now, Rob. So if you missed it, you missed
live
the replay.
Right here on Golden Triangle Media.
And of course, Devin Bliss ends it as only Devin Bliss can with, I have thoughts, which sometimes I'm worried he doesn't have anything in his head, but now we know for sure he does have thoughts.
Yeah, most of the time they're not very glowing or positive, so I'm glad that he left it at that and let everybody have fun with the good times that they had at the show. Honestly, like I did feel really bad for Devin because he had a day one match that changed 3 times and then got canceled right before it was about to go out. So if his thoughts are at all related to that, man, I feel for you. I was there with him. I told him that I'm sorry that it happened. Sometimes things happen, sometimes they don't. It's kind of part of things, but he took it in stride, man. Like, I know how much the match he was going to initially have meant to him, and all the changes meant even more to him. And I was doing my best to make sure that everything went in a manner that got Devin something that he was excited and happy to do, and like just right before bell time, it just didn't go that way. And I'm sure that didn't leave the best taste in his mouth, but you know, day 2 happened and he got to do his thing, and by the end of it, I mean, he was a GBYWN tag team champion. So
hell yeah. And I'll say this, I've never wrestled Devin in a singles match, and not that there's any plans right now for that. I'm not teasing anything right now off the top of my head, but I would definitely love to wrestle Devin Bliss before it's said and done at some point.
yeah, and I know he has expressed interest in having an opportunity at that GBYWN World Championship you got. That one right there, bud.
All right, we'll keep in mind.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the future. There's going to be more yard shows and more opportunities that have found it, and more episodes of Yard Times with Rad and Rick. This was a great emotional episode where we talked about our fifis and how all the outside stuff that wasn't the actual wrestling, I mean a little of the wrestling, but how much the community made us feel, and the vibes and that kind of stuff. So I think next episode we're going to really dig into the wrestling side of things and maybe watch some music videos and full matches and discuss a little more of the three-handled family gradunzels of the show, as opposed to all the hugs and love. But you got to talk about stuff like this whenever it was as emotional of a ride as it was, and what it spawned, like truly proving that we were not dead yet. Which, like, at the time, whenever I came up for the name of the show, it was just a clever way of saying that this was going to be an indie show, because it was nothing but a ring and lights and entrances. Like, it was an indie show. And I was thinking of a way to like play off of that. And I was like, oh, it's not dead yet, because so many people said like backyard wrestling's dead. I killed backyard wrestling. 2005 Super Card of the Backyard is the death of backyard wrestling.
Yes.
And then BXW, goodbye backyard wrestling, and all these things. And it's like, here we are in 2024 and it's still not dead yet. And 2025 with BYG proved the same thing. And you and I talked about stuff. We'll leave it at that. We talked about stuff. So we'll see what the future has in store in terms of having more backyard wrestling shows. But what definitely the future has in store is having more episodes of Yard Times.
Absolutely. I mean, this is such a phenomenal weekend. There's so much to talk about. We need a part 2. We absolutely need a part 2. We've already been on this broadcast for almost an hour, 45 minutes, and we've talked about a lot of great stuff. And we've scratched the surface here. I mean, we haven't talked about our matches. We haven't talked about a lot of stuff. Why I had a hamstring injury that whole weekend. That was a shoot. That was real. I had a real hamstring injury, and I still wrestled with it. And we'll talk about how that happened and why, and all the great stuff. But the emotions that we had to display today, I'm really glad we got the community involved. Hopefully we can do that again next episode, future episodes, get everyone's thoughts and feelings, because that's what this community is all about. It's about the feelings. And I truly believe that our brand of backyard wrestling will live as long as we live, and probably beyond, with thanks to video footage. So
beyond, I get it.
I was trying to be smooth there, but you got me.
So here on Golden Triangle Media, we just finished up posting Goodbye 2012, like I mentioned to start the show. Gonna get back to some WrestleFest 3 in these next coming days. I think I have maybe 1 or 2 more matches at day 2 and 3 or 4 from or 1 or 2 more matches at day 1, 3 or 4 from day 2. And then we're going to start getting into some different stuff, non-BXW related, I believe, because I've already posted dozens and dozens of BXW matches in full. We're going to take a little break from BXW stuff. But yeah, next episode, we're going to get into our wrestling and our feelings and things that happen through our points of view at It's Not Dead Yet. In the meantime, Rad, you got any indie booking coming up?
Let's see. I'm currently working for the Independent Superstars of Pro Wrestling. That's 2 or 3 shows a week they hold. It's crazy. They're traveling all over New Jersey. I'm very excited to have joined this company about 3 weeks ago. So you're going to have to look up their schedule, because it's crazy. If there's a wrestling convention somewhere in New Jersey, they are hosting a show there. And I'll be actually working a Latin festival on Saturday, so that'll be exciting. And then a week after that, I'll be wrestling for Pure Vanguard Wrestling in Connecticut. I will be in the main event, 6-man tag, against an evil group called the Empire, hosted by Dan DeMann. And it's not this Dan DeMann, it's some other guy. But either way, we're going to have a great time there. And I do have an upcoming Mat Pro Wrestling Grand Championship title defense. I believe that is November 14th, if I remember right. It's a Friday. So that'll be exciting as well. But until then, you can check me out on Stepdad's Wrestling on all social media. Remember, Stepdad's Wrestling, all one word. If you put a space between Stepdads and Wrestling, we are not liable from what you will find, and you will not find what we want you to find. So there you go. There you go.
Well, I'd like to thank Rad for joining me again tonight. We're going to do a bunch more of these episodes. I want to thank everybody that's live in the chat with us tonight. We had Sean Jovi, Zach Cass, BRB. We had my future wife hanging out in here with us for a little bit. We got some Jonah Block, which was great to see. A dude named Nate who said hello, Rad Dad, who I'm not familiar with, but I love having people stop through that I'm not familiar with. We had a quick appearance by Sportswire, our good friend Tom Bryce. And of course, every time I do anything, Airborne Extreme is here beginning to end, and he'll comment on every video I post, and he is probably my favorite backyard wrestler of all time. So huge shout out Airborne Extreme and the rest of the people that were here to watch this live and watch it in the future. And we'll catch you next time here on Golden Triangle Media for episode 3 of, what's the name of the show?
Yard Times, Daddy. Yard Times.
And Golden Triangle Media out. We're doing this. I forgot. We're doing the thing.
I remember.
Yeah.